If the job posting that you're reading very quickly on these top criteria fails on any of those, skip it. Don't waste your time. There's bigger fish to fry. Welcome back to Answer the Call, where Audrey and I help Christians discern what they feel called to do and practically land a job that's aligned with it. We are stepping away from the hyper spiritual side of discerning God's calling for your life and picking the right job title and meeting you where you're actually at, which is in those LinkedIn pages of job descriptions and trying to decide which of these do I apply to. We're recording this topic on how to save time in your job search by reading job descriptions the right way, white way, because so many of our clients say, you know what, it feels like the most amount of time that I spend in my job search is just reading, scrolling through application or job postings on LinkedIn or other sites, and having to really ponder, should I apply to this or not? Is this a fit for me or not? Will I have a chance at this job or not? And so we would like to show you the 5-step framework that will allow you to efficiently eliminate the job postings that you need to immediately X out of and keep moving, or show confirmation signs of this is worth my time to apply. And then next week, we're going to talk about, now that it's time to apply, you have your job postings that you really want to go for. How do you tailor your application based on the job description? Again, so you boost your chances of having an interview. Audrey, I need to thank you for coming up with this topic for today.
Yeah, it's definitely what we hear all the time from people that we work with, but then also people in the career consultation calls that we have. It's people are so in the trenches of LinkedIn, spending all their time just sorting through, and the actual result of that, and result, I mean, by result, I mean like how many jobs you're actually applying to. I think people are shocked when they look at their numbers. They're like, I spent hours doing this and I only applied to 2 jobs. How does that make sense? And it's this like energy that's just dispersed inappropriately.
Yeah, I feel that people really spend way too much time reading every single word and almost romanticizing the job description and subconsciously pretending if I spend enough time obsessing over every detail and imagining my future here based on these 5 paragraphs, then maybe I'll have a better chance at getting the job. Or your mind is telling you this is an efficient way to spend my time because I'm thinking about all the ways I'd be right for this job and I'm mentally already preparing for the interview. But that might not be, I would suggest that's not a good use of your time. And that's why I want to get right into it. Here are the 5 steps that I would say I need to just put out 2 prerequisites. You are not even ready to apply to jobs and find the right job description and have the right mindset as you're reading through job descriptions if you have not done these 2 things. So 2 absolute prerequisites is, first, choose your one target role. Of course, with title variations. I understand that a customer success manager can also be called a customer experience manager or a variety of other things. Certainly, if you're in sales, and going for an account executive role, you might be targeting account executive roles at a small startup, or more of a lateral move to a, oh gosh, I'm blanking what's right below that.
Account manager, maybe?
Sure. Account manager, right, at a larger, more reputable company. So you might have like a 2-tier job search approach, but you do need to get at least to that point and be as specific as possible. Because if you are going into LinkedIn and typing in analyst, whoa, I have actually seen some people do that. You will get probably if not tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of jobs that all mean completely different things. You might be in national security or working at a supply chain manufacturing plant. And those are two extremely different things. And you're setting yourself up to have to spend most of your hours reading through a relevant job application. So you need to get to the point where you have one target role. An example here is our client Hunter, who you've maybe heard me tell this story before. He's such a perfect example of this. After we went through the clarity process of discerning what he feels called to do and where his talents lie and what job title best aligns with that, we actually initially came to supply chain analyst. But when he typed in supply chain analyst to LinkedIn, the variety of content and skills in the job descriptions showed that this title is pulling up way too disparate of meanings of the actual job. So because some of them were actually tech roles where he had to do advanced coding languages, and others were more Excel based analysis. And that's what he really wanted to go for. So once we analyzed job descriptions, we realized that the more common title that actually represented what he wanted, which is Excel-based analysis in a supply chain environment, was supply planner or demand planner or supply analyst, and something more specific like that. And just changing the language to that level made all the difference in the efficiency of him reading job applications. So I want to offer that example to you to give yourself a self-evaluating moment of, am I specific enough? And if not, I want to invite you to go back to our episode, I think it's 204, on how to turn your vague dreams into a specific job title, our 4-step system. So that will be a great resource for you if you're realizing, oh, I'm actually not ready to be that specific. So after that, there's only one other prerequisite that I want to offer to you. Once you have a specific title or small range of titles that you're sure are synonyms for the same type of role, then you need to study 3, 5, 10 job postings that you would really want to apply for to get a strong sense of what recruiters are commonly looking for in those job applications. You can use an AI tool to double check your thinking on that, though I would do the thinking yourself and only use that as a tool to draw out more common themes that it's evaluating. And then you tailor your resume and your LinkedIn to what qualifications they need. And I have so much more to say on that. I really want to do an episode on all the wild stuff I'm seeing on LinkedIn now that I'm on there. I've been not applying. Don't worry, guys, I'm not leaving my job. I've been posting on there more recently and just seeing people be wildin' on the way they do their LinkedIn headlines. That is like a showstopper. So anyway, I will come out with some more LinkedIn and resume advice soon, but for now, I just need you to know it is a prerequisite to study the job applications that you want to apply for and go ahead and get your base level tailored resume and LinkedIn profile done. You might tailor it a little bit more in terms of the resume per job application, but on a base level, you need to, as much as possible, be matching the most common denominators in the job descriptions that you want to apply for. If you're not sick of hearing me talk, I think we are ready for the 5 steps. Audrey, I would love to hear your voice instead of mine. Are you open to covering this first 15-second gut check step?
Yeah, sure. So there's a time and place for studying the job descriptions, like you just said, studying them ahead of time to get a good baseline understanding of what you're going for and then tailoring your materials. The other time to really study the job description is when you are doing specific outreach. We'll cover that next week. And also landing an interview and you're studying for that or preparing for that. When you're applying to jobs, it's actually not the time to do the most comprehensive read of the job description because that's going to take up all your time and it's going to cause you to overthink. So what you just said is this step do a 15-second scan first, just the gut check of, does this make sense for me to apply to? So you can look at the job title. Does it match the title that you're targeting? It's awesome if it's a direct match, but you should have already listed out the variations of that title as well. Or is it a title that maybe would be a stepping stone for you? Great, that's the first thing. Next thing is the company name and industry. Are you open to working there? Do you want to work there? Is it something that you absolutely don't want to work for? That's a good thing to
Yeah,
identify too.
please don't be too judgy here, though. I'm expecting that the vast majority of the time, the company name and industry is not going to be a deal breaker for you, but just do review it in case it is.
Yes. I'll give you an example of what could be a deal breaker. I was looking at job descriptions this morning and I was like, oh, this is good. I was trying to find some outreach techniques and build some strategies or refine some strategies. And then I realized they were selling mushrooms.
Not my style.
Like, oh, maybe I actually won't use that one as an example. So
yeah, it happens to the best of us. That happened to me in college when I was really being recruited hard for a certain role that I ultimately realized was for a cigarette company. And I was like, doesn't feel like my calling, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. On to the next. So I agree with you. Keep an open mind, but obviously there's some
Yeah,
funny
like don't
examples
cut
out
out
there.
companies just because they feel boring. I think that's lame because you actually could get into the job interview process and have a tremendous amount of pleasant surprises as you meet the team and realize how they're serving the world in a deeper way. Websites don't tell everything.
Yeah.
Do not cross out companies or industries just because they feel too normal, like a bank or a utility or a lawn service. I met one of the most amazing guys last year that's like a strategist for a lawn service. And he's like, people underestimate me all the time, but it's like a multi-million-dollar business all across Texas. And I'm really proud to work here. I was like, go King, you're
Amazing.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And culture fit and all of that is something you decide in the interview process. You cannot
Interview.
get that from a job description.
I mean, unless they obviously are saying a bunch of things about like hustle culture and being available at all times and whatnot, some of those jobs really might be worth it to you. Like for instance, if you're going for an executive level, I would say that's just realistic. Like you are reaching one of the highest levels of accountability in the company, and at times do need to work on a Saturday. Like that's definitely something that I was so proud of my husband when he was open to that. I didn't think it was toxic. I was like, yeah, okay. So anyway, I think for this quick 15-second scan, you are literally just looking at job title, gut check on company name, location. Is it a remote or hybrid policy? Is that a deal breaker for you? Are they in office? Is that within? Do you have the proper filters set up on LinkedIn to make sure that you are only looking at job descriptions that agree with your location preference or remote or hybrid policy? And then I would say the most important here that I think in past years we could ignore a little bit more, but now I would suggest it is important, is seniority and years of experience. I hope that you spend like 3 seconds on all the other things that I mentioned: job title, company name, industry, location. But seniority, please do skim through and try to find the numbers of the years of experience that they're hoping for. I would suggest that now that we are currently, it's best to deal with reality. We're currently in a market where at this blip in time, it might even change by the time you listen to this episode, whenever that is. At this blip in time, there are more job seekers than job openings. I would say recruiters have the upper hand and they are able to hard select based on your seniority and years of experience that they're requiring for their job rec. So are you over or underqualified? Double check that. And I do expect that if the job posting that you're reading very quickly on these top criteria fails on any of those, skip it. Don't waste your time. There's bigger fish to fry. Most, I hope, are going to only pass after these first two steps. Otherwise, keep it moving. So that brings me to if the job description has passed that 15-second gut check, then do a quick requirements audit. Now you're going to go into the requirements section or qualifications section of the job description, which you're likely already in because you're quickly looking at the years of experience that they're looking for. And now you're going to ask yourself, spend a bit more time on this. Do I meet at least 70% of the core skills? You don't need necessarily 100%, though they're not going to be mad if you have 100%. But do you meet at least 70%? And are your missing skills trainable or are they critical? Meaning, if the skills that you miss are trainable, like it's a certain software that you're like, I know that's a competitor of the software I've already been using. I'm not dumb. I will figure that out. They just need to give me my account and I'll be off to their races. But if it's critical, it's more something like a CPA license is required. And if you don't have that, move on. And I would further suggest if you're reading job descriptions and by this point you realize that most of the positions you're looking for are failing these first two steps, this might be a chance to reevaluate what you're typing in to the search function. Again, we're going off of LinkedIn, but I'm sure this applies elsewhere as well. You might, at this time, utilize a Boolean search. Audrey's more of the expert on this, so I might have you refresh my memory on this, but I'm fairly sure you could do, like, for instance, bookkeeper, not in all caps, CPA. Mm-hmm. And that would allow a scan. I believe that it will also start filtering based on the content in the job description, not just the title, which is extremely helpful. What do you think, Audrey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And a note here is that there are a lot of promoted positions on LinkedIn. I'm sure you see that, Kelsey, like searching through. Sometimes the whole first page are promoted. I don't know if they respond to the Boolean as well as we would like.
Okay.
So if that's the case, if the first couple are iffy when you do that Boolean search, a Boolean search is using the terms either not or and in all caps to connect two terms and refine your search that way in the search bar. So if you do your Boolean, the first couple job searches don't seem to align with it, go to the second page and get out of that promoted category and see if those are a little bit better, because I think that can mess some people up sometimes.
That's such a good tip, because I bet if they didn't know that, then they might throw the baby out with the bathwater and be like, Boolean doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, and
good one, Bagarus.
Pulled from the content of the job description, not just the title.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Which is huge. I bet you could start doing other more advanced not searches, like not
social media for
fast-paced. Just kidding. I mean, Audrey and I are in a fast-paced environment, so yeah. I would not say that I think that's a deal breaker.
Good. I mean, think about when you send an email to somebody and they don't respond, an internal email, and you need that response from them, and you sent it on Monday and they send their response on Friday before they log off for the weekend. That's horrible. That ruins your work that you're able to do. You want fast-paced. Quick little
Queen, I think we need to give you a mic for a whole other episode on that one.
Yeah.
A whole other episode.
People sometimes at the fast pace, they think, maybe they take it along the lines of, oh, I don't want to be micromanaged. But I wouldn't equate those terms. Fast-paced,
those are totally different.
Do you have urgency? Are you sending things on time before they're due? Or people sending them back to you? Little tidbit there: if you're always on time or before time with those tasks and things, I would imagine people typically step up to the plate. But if you're taking your sweet time to respond because you don't like fast pace, you're training other people to do the same thing with you.
1,000%.
A little off topic.
Audrey, you just dangled such a carrot in front of me. I'm having such a hard time staying on topic because I mean, people even delay. I'll get back to the hiring manager tomorrow.
Mhm.
Oh, I got an interview. I'll respond to them tomorrow. I'm like, what on earth? Do you actually want this job? Do you have time? Respond now.
Mm-hmm.
You are training them on how quickly to respond to you. As somebody who has been sending out messages that either get picked up and responded to or ignored for years in a highly networked career like mine, I have seen a clear and direct correlation between people chronically ignoring me because I was too slow with the very first response to them, or chronically always jumping to my aid or my request if I did the same for them right at the beginning. Course correcting is almost impossible, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So I would keep that in your mind. So we're back. We're so back to we have so far covered in the 5 steps. You have done a quick 15-second scan. If it matched that, you're going to spend a little bit more time in the requirement section. This is actually, I would say, before going way deep into the paragraph up front. And because why read that whole paragraph about like the more qualitative description of the role if they require a CPA and you don't have it, for example. And then we gave you some tips on after doing those first 2 steps a few times, you might even just refine the way you're searching. But after you've regrouped and refined the way that you're searching, maybe introducing Boolean search, then you are going to evaluate job descriptions much more quickly, pass through those first 2 steps very efficiently, get more of a positive hit rate on, yeah, the job descriptions that are coming up are really relevant to me. So then you are justified in indulging and spending a little bit more time on identifying the core responsibilities. So this is where you'll go into that paragraph, what you'll do section. That's more of a qualitative description of the role. And ask yourself, can you see yourself doing these tasks day to day and enjoying them?
Mm-hmm.
And if you've been a career coaching client of ours, you know that your day to day tasks are probably the most significant basis for your satisfaction and success in the position. Do they fit what energizes you and avoids what drains you? If that's a fit, then keep on going. Then you should probably definitely apply to this role. And are these tasks aligned with your career goals? Are they moving you at least closer to where you really ultimately want to head? I think that's important to consider, especially in more of a time when the employers have the upper hand in this job market. Just remember that positioning yourself strategically is still so deeply important. If you just take anything, which I understand some people might be in that position, and I respect that so much, but if you can, you want to make sure that your next position is going to position you for the ideal one when it's time, after a market downturn corrects itself, which after a market downturn, there's usually quite an encouraging upturn. Sounds obvious, but I think it's really good to remember that. And when that is the case, you, the employee or the candidate, might be having more of an upper hand and might have an easier time positioning yourself for a stretch role. And so ask yourself, are these tasks aligned with your career goals and going to position you for an even better role after this? And then ask yourself, are there any red flags? Like for instance, 100% travel. If that's a no for you, then again, this is going to be a move on, keep it going. And you might say, again, refine your Boolean search to not travel. If you realized, oh, a few of these job descriptions are requiring that, and I am not, that doesn't fit my life goals. But if these responsibilities excite or at least interest you and seem like something you could do well, then it's really looking good. Like you're about to start applying. Mm-hmm. I would say step 4 is truly optional if you are not incredibly picky on this, but you might check compensation and growth signals. So, I mean, I would say actually this might be pretty important to familiarize yourself with the industries that are doing well and positioned for growth versus the ones that are likely a dying art in this dynamic market that is heavily disrupted by AI and other like policy changes and things like that. So I think I really loved hearing Kevin, my husband, evaluate job descriptions when he was searching for jobs this summer, based on, you know what, I don't think that this industry is going anywhere. I think it is going to be more prone to layoffs. I do not feel comfortable with taking this role. And he would really think on that level. And I think that's really admirable. So if that's something that you resonate with, do it. And step 4 is all about checking if you think that company has growth signals or is a sinking ship, which, by the way, some companies definitely still hire when they're in a sinking ship. So don't think that just because they're hiring, it's always a positive signal. And then check compensation. So it might not, this really annoys me, but I'm sure it does for our listeners as well, but not all job descriptions on LinkedIn are transparent with the salary range that is offered with this position. So that's where you might go to Glassdoor, levels.fyi, or Indeed to look for cues about the potential salary range. Then it's time to just make a fast decision. I would say if you meet, if the title, company, and location is a match, you meet 70% of the must-haves, responsibilities look good, and compensation is reasonable, then apply now. Please don't wait that long. I do understand it could be efficient to batch your tasks and have a whole day where you're just reviewing job applications postings that you want to apply to. And then maybe the next day you do go in and apply to those. But I would make your batches fairly small. I don't know. It's very subjective. Audrey, do you have an opinion about this? I'm thinking find 3 to 5 job descriptions and then apply as quickly as possible, because I do think that your speed of application is an advantage. It does matter. And the job description and posting can be taken down if you wait too long. I like gasp audibly when people wait a week to apply to things.
Yeah, they're taken down so quickly. And a small tip there as well, always copy and paste the text from the job description into a Google Doc so that you can reference back to it if and when it's taken down. But yeah, I would say as someone who loves the idea of batching a bunch of tasks and then doing all the applications at once because I hate task switching, I am with you on batch maybe 3 to 5, and then you have to fight against that urge to batch them all because it's I think going to hurt you in your process.
Micro batch. Yeah. Be a microbrewery.
And that's good because I'm sure science says, but I know that Jordan Rayner says in Redeeming Your Time, his book, 2 hours of deep work is a good time frame, and after that it's good to take a break. So
it's actually 90 minutes. Not to be a butthole, but yeah, it's 90 minutes.
So a 90-minute period of microbatching and then a 90-minute period of applying and switching back and forth like that. I think that can be really helpful for productivity.
Yeah, with a 15-minute break in between where you're touching grass and praying and asking God to bless your next efforts. I think that is a huge winning strategy. By the way, in order to efficiently evaluate job descriptions, I hope you'll notice what we didn't talk about. We did not talk about spending time first going through all the notes on the company's culture, their awards that they've won, the benefits that you'll receive. I'm talking about ancillary benefits. Your primary, and we have had some clients whose primary goal after picking the right job title is making sure that they have the right benefits for their unique family situation. So I understand that. But if you're like spending a lot of time daydreaming after looking at their unlimited PTO and $400 wellness subsidy per month, then I would say you're wasting time because you might not have been disciplined to first evaluate their requirements section and realized that you meet less than 50% of those. And especially for those positions that are written, they're like job seeker bait. They are written to have the company be like, you're going to be family and we'll love you forever. And there's no better job out there. These are the kinds of applications that get 600 plus applicants, as I'm sure you already know. And so I don't want you to get overly caught up with those if you don't meet the requirements. But if you do, get excited and go all in on the quality of your application, which we're going to talk about next week.
Mm-hmm. And I have one thing to add. I hope this is helpful. I do think there is a small space for the investigation and wonder and kind of allowing yourself to go on a rabbit hole. Please keep listening to the rest of my statement. I think that's 5%, maybe 10, more like 5% of your job search. I think some wonder and dreaming can be fun, but if that's taking up more than 5% of your job search, I would be really concerned about how you're spending your time. I think it can be recharging to say, oh, this is a really exciting company. Maybe there's a spot for me. I don't know how that's going to fit. And like figuring out a way to fit into it. And you have all this strategy come to mind. I like for there to be a place for that, but a very, very small place because you're going to put so much energy into that. And it's one single shot versus all of these opportunities you have over here that you should be spending more than 90% of your time on.
And those seemingly less glamorous job descriptions can be an amazing job. Yeah. Don't underestimate them. One of my best friends in Austin, she worked for her dream restaurant group. And after a few years realized the pay is terrible. The work-life balance doesn't exist. I don't have a life anymore. And basically I'm a starving artist now to work here. And so after a few years, she ended up saying, you know what? I actually want to experiment working for, quote, a boring company. And that boring company has ended up giving her a life that I think is so much healthier and happier on the whole. Her and her husband were able to afford a house. She actually has been doing so well there that she got promoted to the extent that she gets to go on work trips to India, where her and her work besties stop over in Paris for a time when they're on the way over there. She loves it and has a really good working environment with a boss that actually protects her overworking tendencies. And if she didn't give her neighbor's boring company a try when her neighbor said, there's a role open, I think I could recommend you for it, then she would have lost out on all of that and maybe become quite cynical about work after a, quote, dream company really let her down. So that's why I just have too many examples in my head to not put in like a really solid word for those seemingly boring opportunities that you're tempted to skip over. And I just lastly want to say, apply quickly because there is absolutely no use in, I guess, extrapolating all of your deepest ideas about what my life would be like at this company if they don't even accept you for a recruiter phone screening. Just apply, and if they give you the first interview, that's where you could ask some questions. Realistically, it's just a recruiter phone screening, so you're not going to be able to ask the deeper questions that only a hiring manager in the second or third rounds can answer. But just keep that in mind. Like, get in the ring so you could ask questions. I also hear people, not even some of our clients, I've had to correct this, not applying to jobs because they want to wait first to do an informational interview with someone at the company to ask more about the opportunity before applying. And first off, the job posting might already be down by the time you do that. So opportunity's gone. Second off, even if it's not down, you're so at the bottom of the pile, they've already had their candidates selected for the first round and moved on to the second round. There might not even be actively considering the stragglers that are applying later. And third, if you put all that thought into it and take somebody else's time, and you don't even get accepted to an interview, that was all wasted. Rather, if you just applied, the way to ask questions to see if you're interested in them is after confirming if they're interested in you. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a misunderstanding of our informational interview strategy that we focus on in the clarity process, which is very different. And I hope that you go back to the episodes on how to clarify your calling and identify the right job title and our 4-step system that I mentioned earlier, where you could hear more about the difference. Since I'm so passionate about this topic, I could keep on talking forever, but I think that's why we have a weekly podcast. You'll have to come back next week where we talk about, now that you've selected some jobs to apply to, how do you tailor your application to have a better chance of getting the job in the interview, and try and make that as efficient for you as possible, because I realize I don't want job searching to be a full-time job. I know that could be really hard. So that's it. Hey, if you want me personally and Audrey to be helping you through all of this and helping you into your next job fast, then book a free consultation with me at not kelseykemp.com. LOL, that was my site like 4 years ago. thecalledcareer.com. And follow me on LinkedIn. I'm posting a lot more tips that people are finding helpful on there in a bite-sized format. That's it.
That's it.
Thanks for listening.
See you next
Bye.
week.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. To get an even more meaningful head start into your calling, head to thecalledcareer.com, where my fellow career coach Audrey and I have created a whole suite of free resources and tools to help you get clear and get a job today. For those who are definitely ready to land a job or start a business in the next 6 to 12 months, we're here to help you biblically and practically discern your calling through coaching, reflection, and deep market research. Identify the job that's aligned with it, even if you currently have no idea what you want. Rebrand your resume and LinkedIn to translate your background to appeal to your future boss. P.S. We take this off your plate and do this for you. Also, we'll teach you how to land referrals and get attention from leadership through networking. Again, if that makes you nervous, we have these emails and LinkedIn messages literally written for you, so you don't have to sweat. We're also here to give you unlimited interview practice, so you're prepared to address every elephant in the room and knock selling yourself out of the park. Then we'll round out with helping you negotiate your salary so you land thousands more. Just so you know, recent clients have gotten $8,000 to $50,000 salary increases, even though they were totally non-traditional candidates. That's because we specialize in helping non-traditional career pivoters land jobs they're ecstatic to serve in. It takes work, but we're here to see you through until the end, when we're celebrating that day that you send me an email in all caps and you say, Kelsey, I got the job. Then you could be on the podcast. But I'll be here until then, keeping you accountable and encouraged by meeting with you literally until you land the job you want, even if that's up to 6 months from now within our program. Apply to join at thecalledcareer.com, and I'll see you next week here at Answer the Call. Bye for now.